Welcome to the History of Taxonomy Part 2. In this, we will be studying about few more scientists that have contributed in the biological classification of organisms. So let's begin with the journey again. Biological classification. Now we are going to take History of Taxonomy Part 2. First of all, I would like to ask you one question, that is, who is the father of taxonomy? We are learning the history of taxonomy, then we must know that who is the father of taxonomy. In my previous lecture, I told you, yes, it is Carolus Linnaeus. Now comes the scientist A.P.D. Candolle. What he did? He wrote the book Theories Elementarii de la Botanique. Okay, he was the first scientist to propose the significance of what? Significance of vascular tissues in taxonomy. So vascular tissue were introduced. Their significance was given while naming the plants in this taxonomy that was introduced by A.P.D. Candolle, the scientist. Okay, next is Bentham and Hooker. This first picture is of scientist Bentham and he is Hooker. So who are these two? George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. They wrote the book Genera Plantarum. In Genera Plantarum, there is description of 202 families. 202 families were described under this book by the scientists Bentham and Hooker. In this classification, the phylogeny of plants is not considered. So they did not consider the phylogeny of plants. Now scientist A.W.I. Clerk, he gave the first phylogenetic classification of plant kingdom, but again a drawback that it was little phylogenetic. Look at this classification given by A.W.I. Clerk. You can see he classified plant kingdom into two first, cryptogamy and then phanerogamy. Cryptogamy consists of non-flowering and non-seed-bearing plants. Phanerogamy is consisting of flowering and seed-bearing plants. Cryptogamy is again subdivided into Thallophyta, Bryophyta and Pteridophyta. So what are Thallophyta? The plant body is not differentiated into root, stem and leaf. While in Bryophyta, they are having false roots and leaves. Spores are produced in a capsule, for example, Riccia and Funaria. In Pteridophyta, what is happening? You can see here, true roots and leaves are present. Okay, and spores born on the under surface of the leaf, example ferns. Okay, now comes phanerogamy. They are having gymnospermae and angiospermae. So gymnospermae consist of naked seeds, example pinus and cycas, and angiosperms are containing seeds in a fruit. Okay, so seeds are there in a fruit. So this was the classification given by A.W.I. Clerk. Next was Haeckel, the scientist Haeckel. He gave three kingdom classification: Protista, Plantae and Animalia. What was his classification? He also established the kingdom Protista. He was the scientist who established the kingdom Protista. Look into the description, look into the classification given by him. Let me take a color red again. Okay, so the three kingdom system was there: living beings on the basis of unicellularity and multicellularity. Kingdom Protista was the first kingdom, then came Kingdom Plantae, that is also known as Metaphyta, Kingdom Animalia, which he called Metazoa. Kingdom Protista was having unicellular algae, fungi and bacteria, and Kingdom Plantae is having multicellular plants. Kingdom Animalia was having multicellular animals. Then came the scientist R.H. Whittaker, the most famous scientist. What he did? R.H. Whittaker gave the 5 kingdom classification. It is the most famous classification system, the 5 kingdom system. The 5 kingdom classification was based on 3 characteristics. So these 3 characteristics are complexity of cell, complexity of organism, and complexity, and third one is nutrition. So scientist R.H. Whittaker gave the classification of 5 kingdom system, and this classification is accepted today, and all the classifications, all the descriptions that you will learn will be under this 5 kingdom classification. Now I would like to again test your knowledge. First, tell me who wrote the book Theories Élémentaires de la Botanique? Yes, the first scientist I told you? Yes, exactly, A.P.D. Candolle. Who gave the 3 kingdom classification? Okay, we discussed 2 classifications. First was 3 kingdom classification and second one was 5 kingdom classification. So this 3 kingdom classification was given by Haeckel and 5 kingdom classification was given by R.H. Whittaker. What are the 3 main characteristics of the 5 kingdom classification of Whittaker? Yes, I told you about 3 characteristics on which this 5 kingdom classification was based. Correct. Complexity of cell, complexity of organism, and nutrition. Well students, so this is all about the history. It is complete now. In this part, what we have studied? We have studied about the scientists A.P.D. Candolle, Bentham and Hooker, A.W. Whittaker, Haeckel and Whittaker. So this is all about the work of these scientists who have contributed in the biological classification process. In our next lecture, we will be entering into depth of classification. So please stay tuned for the next video.